told me so.
Desserts aren't always right.
But they're so sweet.
Christian Arcand.
What makes you the authority, brah?
Christian and King.
I know what the goodies.
Welcome to the Goody Room.
Weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN New Hampshire Radio. Streaming live on ESPNNewHampshireRadio.com.
So what?
So what? So let's dance.
Now, here's Christian Arcand and Tom King.
Hour number 2, Christian and King, ESPN New Hampshire, streaming live in the ESPN radio app and on ESPNNHradio.com. I'm Christian Arcand alongside Tom King. Nice to have you with us today. It's a beautiful day in southern New Hampshire. And we're coming at you live, 1250 in Manchester, 900 in Nashua, online, ESPNNHradio.com, and, of course, the ESPN radio app, which you don't have. You should get it. It's free. Download it. And then just tap on live radio, scroll to ESPN New Hampshire. You got Tom King and Christian Arcand from noon to 3. You've got the big show with the big O. Unfiltered, from 3 to 6.
Although we filter it.
High school, yeah, we do filter it. High school insiders from 6 until whenever Red Sox pregame begins, and also Friday Night Lights and all of our fantastic weekend programming right there on the app. You can take it with us, or take you with us anywhere you go. Take us with you anywhere you go.
I think I have to hire Justin.
Try that again. Nah, you know what? Screw it.
I think I need to hire Justin.
Hire him to do what?
Dietitian.
Really? What's wrong with your diet?
I got to lose the 10, remember?
True.
6 months. And
Yeah.
we were going over I'm eating these. I bought these all multi-grain tortilla chips.
Mm-hmm. No,
figured-
that'll do it.
Well, I figured they'd be, they were healthy, so. And he and I were going over the calories, and he told me how you got to look for this, and you got to look for that. You got to divide this by that. And don't get this, and don't get all this low-fat stuff. It doesn't work. It does blah, 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 blah. So, I don't know. I might just have to have him put me on a menu. See if he can do it. He said he'd have all sorts of information for me in the next break. So, but the information that we'll be giving you now is going to be all about the Patriots. They don't need to go on any diet. They just need wins. Starting the year off at 101, they'll get one on Sunday. I think everybody will be shocked if the Raiders even come close in this game, especially with a rookie quarterback who, if you heard him on the audio of his interviews and also read what he said, I mean, he's just kind of wide-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah.
And, we'll see.
I want to hear more about Justin's Jenny Craig program that's going
I got
on
to find
here.
out. Yeah, well, I got to find
like
out.
Dial-A-Meal.
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. It's a good thing I can't get away sometimes to go, more often than not, to go down to Foxborough. Otherwise, I'd be really bloated on Wednesdays because of the pizza and the sandwiches and all that stuff they give us. Right, Zuri?
Zuri Berry joins the show.
What am I missing down there now? I haven't been down in a while.
We had the Splitsville stuff the other day, which was really good, and then yesterday they had a sandwich shop. I'm not really aware of it, but it's down in Foxborough. It was fantastic stuff. They're doing a lot to impress the folks in the press corps right now, and I would say also to promote the shops and food at Patriot Place. So
I was just going to say
they're very open about that.
I was just going to say keep adding the. Justin just emailed me low fat, so he's just, it's just I should email him back. Woo fat. I'm a Hawaii 5-0 guy. No, but I should. They've come a long way from the days of Papa Gino's Pizza. That's for sure.
Yeah. Papa Gino's was like a Wednesday regular. Yeah. Tell me about it.
When's that Splitsville VIP party? That sounds like something we could crash. We don't even have to crash it. We're media. We can get in there.
I think I got a press release actually about it.
I did too. I did too.
I'm going to be honest with you though. I haven't read it.
Me neither.
So I don't know. I don't know what it's about. But I did receive a press release, and I said, "What? This is a bowling alley? I don't know.
Yeah, is that what it is? It's a bowling alley, isn't it? With
it's
food?
an upscale bowling alley.
Right, exactly. So, we got to go to that. I got to see where that is.
I know, and I think great food. And I think bowling alleys.
No doubt about it.
No. You'd be surprised. I thought the same thing. They had a whole spread, and they had sushi and all this other stuff. And I thought to myself, sushi from a bowling alley?
I think I'd rather get sushi from a gas station. I think.
You know what?
In fairness to them, it was pretty good. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, you know what?
They're not going to put some lame
Patriots
place there,
gave us sushi once before down there on a Wednesday.
Oh, really?
It was during the playoffs. It was right before the playoffs, I think. It was
the playoffs.
Yeah, it was. That's exactly
it. That's
right.
abnormal. Okay, let's just
I know.
say that. It's abnormal.
I know. But then again, I'm abnormal too. So what's the difference, right?
That's
Zuri?
putting it mildly, but yes.
Right.
Zuri, Oakland Raiders coming up this weekend. Home opener for the Patriots. Everyone expecting fireworks here. What are you expecting this weekend? Not just on the scoreboard, but on the field.
Well, I'm obviously still very concerned with the offensive line. That's not very sexy at all. But I do think that there was some concern with that unit, which is why they ended up running a lot more. And obviously, I guess they were helped along as far as the running game goes with the defensive turnovers that they were able to procure. But I think when we see against the Raiders, they have the ability to pass a little bit against them. I like guys like Carlos Rogers and Terrell Brown, former 49ers. I think they're decent cornerbacks, but obviously Rogers was limited or missed practice yesterday, whatever the case was. And I think these guys are ripe for picking on by Brady if this passing game can get together. So I want to see how the offensive line holds up when they go back to passing 30 to 40 times with Tom Brady dropping back. I want to see how things go right there. I'm also very interested to see how the Raiders' running game looks. Maurice Jones-Drew apparently hasn't been up to snuff, as some people have pointed out. Between him and Darren McFadden, I think those are two great backs. And we could very well see a situation like we saw with Miami, in which, you got two backs that just run all over you and just gas you up. So I'm interested in that. I don't think we're going to see the Derek Carr, week 3 rookie come out against a 3-4 defense that, hides its coverages pretty well. I don't think we're going to see him do well. So I really think it's going to come down to the Raiders' running game and how they're able to push around, if at all, the Patriots defense.
Well, yeah, they're facing a team for the second straight week where the quarterback basically has to be a game manager, the opposing quarterback. Has to be a game manager and hand the ball off, because if they have to put the ball in the hands of their quarterback, even though Carr threw for 260 some odd yards last week, even if he's a rookie, and against that defense, if you have to put the ball in his hands a lot to win the football game, it's gonna go south in a hurry.
Well, let's just say that if he makes any kind of mistakes like Cassell made last week, I think that this is easily going to be a blowout. I think the spread was something like 14 points for the Patriots in this one, and they've always won when they've got the spread at that level at home. I think if they're 12-0, I was just looking this stuff up, and they're I think they only beat the spread 4 times out of those 12 games. Whatever the case may be. It's really interesting, though, that that they're going to win. This is the Raiders. They're 0-2. They're not doing well. It's just how well are they going to do it, and whether or not they're going to hit all the notes that they want to hit on offense and on defense. And when we talk about the notes on offense, we're obviously talking about spreading the ball around, because I think that is a topic worth discussing.
Yeah, Zuri Berry joins us here on Christian and King. I was going to ask you next. Tom Brady focusing in mostly on Gronkowski and Edelman last week. I feel like this is a good opportunity for him to try and spread the ball around. But then you look at that Raiders secondary, and it's old and slow, but they got some crafty kind of veterans back there. Yeah. Do you think maybe Brady might fall back into his old habits, or is he going to try and expand his range of vision a little bit here?
No, I think he's going to have to. I think he's going to have to spread it around. Again, like I mentioned, Carlos Rogers, Terrell Brown. I think those are pretty good corners right there. And I think Charles Woodson is obviously a very good safety. He played fantastically, actually, the last couple games. I think he missed a couple tackles last week. But besides that, he's done a really good job for them. And they have Tyvon Branch, who I think the Patriots respect a little bit more probably than they should, because he's not that good in my eyes. But you look at the overall unit and you think to yourself, okay, this is a pretty good unit. That isn't. There's not one player that you're going to want to try and pick out and pick on during the game, not like they did against Minnesota with Xavier Rhodes.
Right.
So I think there's an opportunity there for them to make their dinks and dunks with Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski. Although I feel like they've been forcing it a little bit to Rob. That's another topic. And also include some of these other players. Danny Amendola has to get involved. This guy's making way too much money to be getting one target a game, 19 snaps, whatever it was. And I would say for whoever the other fourth guy is, whether it's Ken Burrell, Tompkins, or it's Aaron Dobson, I prefer Aaron Dobson. I think he's got a bigger upside. I think those guys have to get involved as well, to balance the offense out. It's not necessarily going to be about spreading the ball around for the sake of spreading the ball around. It's going to be about breaking tendencies so that way people don't over-focus on the Gronkowskis and the Julian Edelman, so that way you have those options available to you later when you really do want to go to them.
This is really under a microscope because I think the only reason that Rodgers and Woodson and those guys are out there is because Mel Renfro and Jason Sehorn weren't available. I mean, the Raiders are just going in the opposite direction of the way they should be going here. You know?
Yeah.
They got to be playing younger guys, not older guys.
2002, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Opposite direction for the Raiders. So this is again, I yap about this all the time with my Bay Area people. It's just been downhill since that Super Bowl.
I know.
And it's not changing. It's not changing immediately. I think you see the pieces in place. You think, oh, Derek Carr, this is a good thing. Oh, Khalil Mack, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But they've also lost some really good players in the last couple of years. Some guys left that were obviously very frustrated with the situation there.
We're talking with Zuri Berry. Zuri, you grew up in the Bay Area. Were you a Raiders or a Niners fan growing up?
I think it's pretty obvious that I was a Niners fan.
I thought so. Yeah.
Obviously, I'm from San Francisco, so a lot of people think I'm from Oakland for some reason. I don't know how that happened, but I'm from San Francisco, so it's I've come up the era of Steve Mariucci.
Oh, you were a Mariucci fan.
A mooch man.
Jordan Seifert and Steve
Didn't he
Mariucci.
mooch on one?
I would say Bill Walsh was obviously in as the head coach when I was a very, very young kid, but those my formative years were under George Seifert and Steve Mariucci, and then of course the terrible coaches that came after.
Mooch was never able to mooch his way to a Super Bowl on the piggybacks of Seifert, was he?
I think the fiasco with Terrell Owens undid him.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think that I think they got rid of him. I think 1 year too early. Just to be honest with you. 1 year too early. They still were a fairly decent team, and then the wheels fell off.
Yeah, but who else did he bomb with? Somebody else he coached.
Detroit, right?
Detroit, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in
Detroit. Yeah, they hired him 1 year too early.
Detroit was in the midst of a Raiders issue right there with just ongoing stupidity going on from the GM level down. So, yeah, I wasn't a good situation for him. Hey, but he landed well. NFL Network, right? Yeah,
that's true. Well, that's just it. You notice the guys that go to the NFL Network, they never go anywhere else. I mean, they never go back to playing. They never go back to coaching. They don't go back to doing anything.
I put him and John Gruden in the same boat. I mean, John Gruden, another guy fired too early with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, formerly with the Raiders and everything. Right. He gets fired. He starts messing around with ESPN. He's still a viable coach. People still, year to year, talk about bringing in John Gruden. It doesn't make sense. He's comfortable there. It's actually fantastic that there are good, viable coaches that are just sitting around, rather do the broadcast thing.
Right.
Less hours. That's what it is.
That's what I'm hoping for with writers. Good writers go do the broadcasting. But ESPN won't take my calls.
Yeah.
Probably because right now I have no voice, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Zuri, one thing about I don't want to make this all Raiders all the time, but when you're Reggie McKenzie and you come in there, I was saying yesterday, when you take over an NFL team, either as a coach, general manager, or all in one, you basically have to rip apart what's there before you can bring in what you want. And that to me takes that in the NFL. That takes a long time, don't you think?
Well, I agree, and I would say that the contrast is actually with the Patriots. They actually have some staff members for the team and in the facility, mostly in team administration, I would say, that have been around for a long time. I think Stacey James, actually the vice president for PR and stuff, he's actually been around like 26 years.
Well, he's been there. He was working there when I started covering the team, and that was in the early 90s.
Well, and my point to that
1890s. Yeah.
Yeah. my point to that is that there are situations in which you sort of tinker around with your coaching staff. You obviously tinker around with the roster, but the general the people, the admin people, they're sort of still in place and they're still sort of building upon things and everything. And you haven't seen that to be the case with some of these franchises that are always in dismay. And the Raiders are prime example number one, and they obviously had an ownership change with the death of Al Davis and on to the son. And you've seen executives come and go as well. They had, I believe, a female executive in there. So they've had some leadership changes, and obviously the coaching changes occur on almost a yearly basis, and it's been very disheartening to watch from afar, just to see them struggle and not sort of figure out that, hey, consistency is needed in these XYZ spots in order for you to become successful at one point.
We're talking with Zuri Berry here, Boston Globe, Boston.com. Zuri, Tom and I were talking yesterday about the fact that the Patriots offense has not played 3 good quarters since last year's AFC Championship game. Forget about a full 60 minutes, but
Are we really saying they played 3 good quarters in the AFC Championship
really.
game?
Sorry, the before that, the game before that.
The divisional
game. Not that they played a horrible. They did not do it in
the
this
win
game.
over the defenseless Colts.
Against the Colts. That was the last time they put 3 good quarters together, let alone a good 4-quarter game. And people have sort of pointed to different things this year with no more Dante Scarnecchia and the offensive line and the receivers and everything else there. And I guess the question is this. Tom Brady's the one constant thing in all of this. He's been the man, and this is this really, I guess, in your mind, the first year that we've seen an opening to a season where Tom Brady hasn't really put one good game together yet?
That's really interesting, and I appreciate the perspective, but I'm going to disagree here, only because I do think that I think there was too much jumbling going around, particularly in the first game against Miami. Preseason, I don't think they played enough together in live action scenarios. I know that the third game is supposed to be it for these guys, but I don't think it was enough. And I think going into the season that they're still sort of working things out. I mean, you just don't mess around with your offensive line like they've done and not be, still trying to figure out who you think your 5 are. I think they've nailed it down to 4, and then the 5th guy is still sort of, up in the air, whether it's Jordan Devey or somebody else.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the wide receivers, whether it's Aaron Dobson or Cameron Tompkins, they literally were just going back and forth between the two in the first game to the second game. So I think with all that sort of that mixing and mashing going on, it's ruined sort of some chemistry that I think that could have occurred had they all been playing together and getting on the same page. And that has directly affected Tom Brady's being able to stand upright when we're talking about week 1 and, sort of the targets and the people that he's looking at in week 2. He went down to 23 passing plays, I believe, in week 2. And guys like Tim Wright, only played 8 snaps. Guys like Danny Amendola only got 1 target. 1 was wiped away, obviously, on the penalty. You go down the list and you just sort of look at the decisions that were made, and you just think to yourself, how can you get up to speed to the place you want to be when there's this limited number of times where you're with the guys on the field that you're going to end up wanting to be working with extensively towards the end of the year and going into the playoffs. So I think that's really difficult to say that now that just because he's the constant, it's partly his fault. He's going to put the blame on himself because that's just the kind of guy he is. But I don't think I'm ready to do that yet.
Well, the other thing about it, Zuri, is that you mentioned all these guys. None of these guys are new to the team. They've all been here at least a year.
No.
I mean, on the offensive line, there's no new faces there. It's all.
Yeah, there was the rookie.
Well, there was the one, but I mean,
Cam, the guy they put out there as
Cameron
the tight end.
Fleming. Yeah, okay, so there was him. But other than that, I mean, everybody's familiar. All the wide receivers and tight ends are all familiar. They all know the system. They've all been here. So I mean,
LaFell hasn't been here.
Brandon
I'm just shooting him down,
Field,
That's what I do.
LaFell doesn't get on the field.
I'm just blowing him up.
One thing that I would argue is that that besides them being all familiar with the system and whatnot, they all haven't played together and they all haven't played in a live action environment against top competition all the time. That hasn't occurred. I mean, you take out somebody like Logan Mankins, that's a big hole to fill. How do you figure that out? Yeah. You have somebody, Marcus Cannon, playing left guard for the first time. That wasn't the case before. So that's still new. And the fact that they switched from Ryan Wendell to Dan Connolly at center, that's still something new that has to be worked out as far as how he deals with the people to his left and to his right and who he's helping on a more regular basis. And right now I'd say that's been Jordan Devey who's been helping a lot.
Right.
So I think all of that plays into it. And of course I am fascinated by the development of the second-year wide receivers and the options and the opportunities that they're getting, because it's very difficult on them to pick up everything, even within a years of experience, and to not be on the field nearly as much in a live action environment. Again, I think is really hard on them. So I wouldn't put so much emphasis on that, because these guys are still young and they're still learning. And I do think that there is a time period in which you can give them a grace period, if you might call it, maybe 6 games, 7 games. And then we can start talking about, okay, who's really failing right now? Because you'll have a big enough sample size to say these guys just aren't living up to whatever they were supposed to be doing.
These coaches make it so hard on these receivers. So why don't they just go 10 steps and crisscross? That always worked in touch football.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Literally every time.
Come on, you go that way, you go that way. We'll crisscross.
There is no defending that.
Exactly. They can't defend it if you get the defense all confused. The idea is to confuse the defense, not your receivers.
Oh, man. It's funny. We were talking about run plays the other day, and it just sort of how they were messing that up. There were a couple of penalties called. I think Aaron Dobson got flagged for the one. And it's just like, how do you coach that up? I mean, because of the new rules and everything, the new emphasis. And it's like taking one thing away from these guys. So, yeah, it's hard to defend that crisscross, but
nobody ever screws that up.
A welcome to leave moment, and all of a sudden everybody's going crazy on the other side.
That's true.
Zuri Berry, thanks so much. Great
Zuri, we'll see you at Splitsville. I don't know if that's the alley, the town, or the nature of our relationship. I'm not sure which. So
yeah, sure.
All right, take care, Zuri. Thanks.
Take care, guys.
All right, that's Zuri Berry there, BostonGlobeBoston.com. Follow him on Twitter at Zuri Berry.
Isn't
that what Bart Simpson said to his teacher when she sent him the note?
To Splitsville?
Welcome to Splitsville. No, it was welcome to Dumpsville.
Dumpsville.
Welcome to Dumpsville. Population U. One of the all-time great ways to break up with someone. All right, 603-883-9900. Your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. Christian and King will be right back.
The fall driving season is here, and Sullivan Tire and Auto Service has just what you need. Announcing our spectacular September tire event. We've got something on sale for every vehicle and every budget. All Goodyear and Dunlop tires are 15% off. Get instant rebates on Bridgestone, Michelin, BF Goodrich, and General tires. On our Sullivan Value line of tires, buy 3 and get the 4th one free, or the 2nd for 50% off. Save even more with manufacturer mail-in rebates on many of today's top brands. See sullivantire.com.
Hey, Lynn, how are you?
Great. It's been a while. You look good.
Thanks. Hey, can you tell? I knocked off a few pounds recently.
Yeah, I mean, you really look good.
Well, I can't take all the credit. I owe it to Dr. Waldman and his cool sculpting.
Who?
Dr. Waldman. He's right on Riverside Street in Nashua. I'm telling you, I never had a hard time with my appearance. I work out, I eat healthy, but I just couldn't get rid of these love handles until I had cool sculpting at Dr. Waldman's.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of Dr. Waldman and the new cool sculpting. The entire staff there's great. They'll sit down with you and consult on exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, they made my cool sculpting experience comfortable and safe. No incisions, no downtime. Plus, I was back at the gym the same night.
And I must say, I like what I see.
Well, then I'll see you for dinner.
Absolutely.
Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology on Riverside Street in Nashua. Make sure to mention this ESPN New Hampshire ad to get a free cool sculpting consultation with Dr. Waldman. Call 603-577-5559 or visit them online at Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com. That's Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com.
Gear up for the return of University of New Hampshire men's ice hockey. Season tickets are on sale now at UNHWildcats.com or by calling 603-862-4000. Ask about special ticket prices for alumni, parents, kids, military, and much more. Reserve your great seats now at the Whittemore Center and be part of all the excitement of UNH hockey. Call 603-862-4000 or visit UNHWildcats.com. It all starts October 4th.
Guess who's coming to ESPN New Hampshire?
We call it Big Show Unfiltered.
Only the biggest radio broadcaster in New England, and we do mean big. Yep, Glenn Ordway is back and unfiltered and on ESPN New Hampshire.
Has ESPN confirmed that yet?
Have the exclusive radio home in the Granite State to hear him live, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Glenn Ordway and his band of characters are taking over Afternoon Drive.
You're listening to Big Show Unfiltered.
Lease examples are 24 or 36 months with 10,000 miles a year with 3,000 cash or trade equity down. Administration tax, title, and destination charges are not included. Must qualify for all incentives. All rebates to dealers. See dealer for detail. Bonneville & Son says 4x4 season is in full swing and 0 for 60-month financing back on select vehicles. Get red-hot deals on America's favorite 4x4s during the Jeep Celebration event at Bonneville & Son Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Enjoy the feel of crisp fall days with a loaded 2014 Jeep Cherokee Sport 4x4 for just $169 a month. Drive a loaded 2014 Jeep Patriot Latitude for just $139 a month. Check out the 2013 and 2014 Motor Trend Truck of the Year, the 2014 Ram 1500 Quad Cab 4x4 Express Package with a 5.7-liter Hemi tow hitch 20s and more for as little as $169 a month. Only back-to-back Motor Trend Truck champion from Bonneville & Son, New Hampshire's #1 selling Chrysler dealer. Take exit 9S off I-93 Manchester.
4 generations, 1 passion, believe in Bonneville.
Online at BonnevilleandSon.com.
Come to Bellman Jewelers in tax-free Manchester, New Hampshire to discover what the Bellman's Advantage is all about. Bellman's has always featured quality jewelry at a fair price with excellent service. Whether it's me or my husband, we always choose Bellman's because the majority of their finished jewelry and engagement mountings are manufactured in-house, eliminating the middleman, which saves us money. And of course, no sales tax. My husband knows to shop at Bellman's. Do you?
Bellman's Jewelers, located at 1650 Elm Street in Manchester, or visit them online at bellmans.com.
My name is Sue Smith. I'm 38 years old, and I work at a graphic design company. Which is funny, because I couldn't even draw a stick figure when I was a kid. But I met someone who told me, you know what? You can do anything if you really want to. And if the teenage me were here, she'd tell you,
I wouldn't be into drawing and art if it wasn't for big brothers, big sisters. Most kids from my neighborhood don't get into art. They get into trouble. But I was lucky because my big sister showed me early on that I didn't have to be like most people. And to the young me,
that meant a lot. My big sister's name is Sheila, and Sheila is the reason that this 8-year-old grows up to have an amazing job as a graphic designer.
Whether you donate money or time, you're helping Big Brothers Big Sisters help a child. And that can last a lifetime. Start something today at BigBrothersBigSisters.org. Brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and
You like sports? We've got it all right here on ESPN New Hampshire. Scores, standings, trades, and rumors. This is the ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
The Patriots practiced yesterday in Foxborough, preparing for their home opener this Sunday against the Raiders. They are back at practice today. One of Tom Brady's goals this weekend is to spread the ball around a little more.
What we're trying to do offensively is to make us hard to defend, is to be able to throw the ball to everybody. And you're right, those guys have seen the majority of the throws, and I got to do a better job finding the other guys, because it's a lot of good routes, big targets, guys that are working really hard to get open.
Gerard Mayo missed practice yesterday, attending the birth of his third child. He is expected to play on Sunday. Pats host the Raiders at Gillette Stadium, 1 o'clock kickoff. In other NFL news, the storm continues as Arizona Cardinals running back Jonathan Dwyer, the latest to be arrested. He was arrested yesterday on charges of aggravated assault on a woman back in July. Dwyer has been deactivated from all team activities. Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston has been suspended for the first half of Saturday's game against Clemson for shouting an obscene phrase in the Florida State Student Center. The Red Sox got their first look at Rusney Castillo last night in Pittsburgh. Cuban center fielder went 1 for 4 with an infield single in the 4th inning, but that was not enough to stop the 9-1 pounding that the Red Sox took at the hands of Pittsburgh. Clay Buchholz picked up the loss, lasting just 4 innings. I'm Christian Arcan. The Sports Center is brought to you by CSA Graphics. For all your ESPN New Hampshire apparel, visit ESPNNHradio.com.
Local sports talk for the New Hampshire sports fan. This is ESPN New Hampshire. Christian and King. (603-883-9900) is your phone number. 883-9900. Give us a call. We can chat. You can text in at 50352. If you'd rather do it that way, you can tweet me at Christian Arcand, and you can tweet Tom at Telegraph_Tom K. As for Jameis Winston, Mel Kiper was on ESPN this morning. He said that Winston's draft stock has now put him down, I think, out of the top 25, I think he said. Something like that. Something ridiculous like that. Because of this latest transgression. The transgression of which he stood up on a table in the student center at Florida State and screamed out this phrase that's become this unlikely internet meme that started off as a fake video and now people do it for real. They sort of bomb into, reporters doing the news with their live shots and scream it. I can't say what it is or even close to what it is because it's obscene. But you could probably figure it out. I'm sure you've probably seen online what it says and what they say. They have a little more freedom to express those things than we do. But the big issue here, I think, is this. They put up a list of all of the transgressions that Jameis Winston's been accused of. There was the BB gun incident last year. There was the crab leg incident. There was this incident where he jumped up on the table and screamed, bleep, 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 bleep. And then, of course, there was the alleged rape. And Deadspin ran a nice little column saying, which of these things is not like the other? BB gun incident, crab leg incident, jumping up on a table and yelling an obscenity, alleged rape. I think we can all sort of figure this out, can't we? Like, where was Kuiper talking about his draft stock taking a hit back then? Why is and why is Kuiper talking about the draft in the first place? We're in week 3. But that's neither here nor there. The issue is, I think, I think we all sort of realize that Jameis Winston's a bit of a loose cannon and also a bit of an idiot. Why all of a sudden now with this latest thing where he jumped up and yelled an obscenity? Ooh, an obscenity. On a college campus. Ooh. Now all of a sudden his draft stock's taking a hit, Mel? Really? Okay. That's the straw that broke the camel's back? Not the rape allegations? Walk me through this, please, because I'm having a hard time figuring it out. If you're going to make a big sweeping statement like that, because first of all, I think he's completely wrong. I don't think Jameis Winston's draft stock is going to take a hit like that. No matter what Mel Kiper says. Team needs a quarterback, they're going to draft Jameis Winston. Unless he does something or get something, it comes out that he did something really much more heinous and there's proof of it. Okay? Because as far as I know, he beat the rap in the other one. Not saying that he's a good guy or anything. I'm just saying by the United States justice system, he is not guilty of what he was alleged. But the allegations, I think maybe that would be on there. If you're going to include that in the list of transgressions from Winston, maybe put that one at the top. Or maybe make that into its own separate category. Instead of lumping it in there with stealing crab legs and such. Tom King heard crab legs and chugged in here. Where the hell were you?
Discussions.
Yeah, okay, that's nice. You can do that during the commercials.
Yeah, well, I did during the commercial. But
then you get your ass back in here when the commercial's over, King.
I didn't know it was going to run. I don't care.
Go pick out a switch.
I know.
Put the leaves in your mouth.
Good Lord.
I'll meet you in the whooping room. By the way, I want to let everybody know that this Saturday, September 20th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Dairyfield Park in Manchester, New Hampshire, will be the Pet Fair, which is put on by the Animal Rescue League of New Hampshire. It is with My Dogs Are Barking 5K road race and a pet shop and a pet step dog walk. It's going down, like I said, this Saturday, the 20th, at Dairyfield Park in Manchester. If you want some information on the event, hit up Karen Moynihan at 603-472-5788 or email her kmoynihan, MOYNIHAN, at rescueleague.org. This Saturday, Pet Fair at Dairyfield Park.
I got to find out how the Taste of New Hampshire went.
Apparently it went well. Guess who was there? Guess who Rich said he talked to?
Who?
Eric in Manchester.
Eric was there.
Eric
missed Eric.
there.
I should have gone.
He was about town. He's a man about town, and that's where he was. He was about town.
Oh, I bet he was.
He was not. He's not called our show.
He
in a
probably
long time.
walked down that street and everybody, hey, Eric!
Hey! It's like when Norm walks into Cheers.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what happens when Eric walks down Elm Street.
All those restaurants probably all know him.
Exact same thing.
You know?
Yeah. So I guess Rich talked to him. He gave him, a few minutes. He stopped signing autographs for a few minutes to talk to Rich, which was nice for him to do.
That's good. Yeah. Exactly.
And and I said, well, why isn't he called in? He said, I don't know. He's a busy guy.
Rich probably never asked him.
Probably not. Flair was out there, just trying
to hobnob and
rub
eat.
elbows.
Exactly.
Meet some ladies.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I'd be doing if I was
I
up
know.
there. 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900.
The ladies chefs, ladies who can cook.
Flair was up there trying to steal crab legs like Jameis Winston. That's what he was doing.
Wait, what are they going to do with it? I mean, this guy, like I said, this guy is going to be trotted out with a jersey, with Roger Goodell holding a jersey for him, giving him the jersey and the cap on some night in middle of May next year, or early May in 2015. And this, I mean, is a complete, you know.
Not according to Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper said he's out of the top 25 for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
After this incident?
Well, yeah, which is ridiculous.
Okay.
And I just explained this. It was ridiculous for 3 reasons. 1, Jameis Winston's still the best player in college football. 2, he's been accused of much worse things than jumping up on a table and yelling out an obscenity. And 3, what the hell is Mel Kiper talking about the draft for? It's week 3.
Oh, are you kidding me? They start talking
I know.
about the draft, the day after the draft.
Pretty much, yeah.
This is their life.
I know.
You know how many millions of dollars have been made off the NFL draft by people like this?
Lots.
In total with all these draftniks?
A ridiculous
Yeah, we're going to be talking to one in a little while.
We will. We'll be talking to Loico.
Loico, I know it.
A millionaire.
I know, exactly.
But yeah.
Loico talks to us. He's sitting in the pool and somebody's holding the phone for him.
Right.
And
he's getting a sponge bath from 3 beautiful women at the same time.
Right, exactly.
So, tough life for Mike
Loico.
Loico.
I know it. No doubt about it.
But yeah, and that was the thing. They put on SportsCenter this morning, they put up a list of Winston's transgressions, and it was like the BB gun incident, the crab legs, the rape allegations, jumping up on a table and shouting an obscenity, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why is that on the same list as stealing crab legs and shouting an obscenity and shooting a BB gun?
What was the first initial?
Rape allegations should be in its own category. That shouldn't be there with...
What were the initials of the obscenity he shouted?
FHRITP.
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
I'll tell it to you off the air.
All right.
But it was a phrase.
Oh, okay.
It was a phrase.
Right.
And the phrase initials are FHRITP. FHRITP. Yep, that's it.
Huh. Okay.
Think about it. We'll play a game next break. What was Jameis Winston yelling in the student center? We're actually not doing this. I'm sorry. 603.
He was yelling probably the same thing I was yelling when I jumped up on the table in that hall at UMass Lowell, Fox Hall. Give me more pizza!
Yeah. Which you didn't have to do because the pizza was literally right there.
right there, right
All you
behind
had to do
us.
was just walk over and get it. But it was so delicious that you felt compelled.
Yeah.
It was like you were testifying in church.
Exactly.
You were like, oh, you got the Holy Ghost.
I know.
For that UMass Lowell pizza.
I know it.
It was wonderful. 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. So Zuri Berry had some interesting points to make about how, and I agree with him to a certain extent, but Tom, you're trying to shoot me down there with Brandon LaFell. Come on. Brandon LaFell's one new guy. Cameron Fleming's one new guy. It's 2 new guys out of what?
Yeah.
17?
Yeah.
And you're telling me those are the guys going to throw everything
They're
off?
major pieces.
No, they're not. Brandon LaFell's the 6th wide receiver on this team, and Fleming's an alternative guy who they had to shove in there for,
to play tight end.
Injury purposes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So don't tell me that that's the reason why they're out of sync, because of those 2 new guys.
Well, they're not out of sync. They're out of position. They have guys playing different positions.
Well, LaFell plays wide receiver.
No, in terms of the line. Well,
okay.
I think
doesn't do it very well, but he does.
Let me tell you something. Yeah. Let me tell you something. And this is why I joke about the 10 steps in crisscross, but the theme remains the same.
Yeah.
All right. For any wideout who comes from another team to join this team and play wide receiver, it is a new position.
It kind of is, yeah.
Because they have no clue. Well, wait a minute. What's this XYZ blah 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 equals pi equals the square root of 45 and blah blah. They don't know. The offense is really complicated.
It is complicated.
And
no question about it.
There's a reason. I mean, there is a common denominator. They brought in some really. These guys haven't moved on anywhere else after they've come here and left to be stars. But they brought in veteran receivers who are scratching their heads 5 weeks into it. That offense is really complicated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Brady is look, if Julian Edelman were on my team, I'd be in love with Julian Edelman too in terms of throwing him the ball because I know I'm going to get 15 yards minimum out of him because he's going to catch the ball 8 yards from the line of scrimmage or 10 yards and add another 15 to it.
Yeah.
Because he can run with the football. He can dodge people. He's tough. He's very tough to bring down. So the heck with everybody else, I would just keep throwing to Edelman if he's open.
I guess so.
I mean, really, Gronkowski, who's going to be bigger than Gronkowski anywhere? He towers over anybody on defense that's covering him. So you're going to throw the ball to him too. Now,
not if he's getting covered by a linebacker. I mean, he's not going to tower over him.
Nah, he's probably
fast linebacker could keep up with him. A big safety could maybe do it. I'm just saying it's happened before. He's not unstoppable like he used to be so far this year anyway.
No, that's true.
And maybe it's because he's still hurt, but he's still coming back gingerly, and that's
but,
fine.
He used to always throw to Welker. Welker would catch the ball 10 to 15 times.
Yeah,
a
and
game
how many
sometimes.
championships did they win throwing to Welker all the time? I'm just saying you want to have a more diverse offense than just one or two guys, and 2.5 if you count Vereen out of the flats.
I don't think their offense is. Look,
I think it is.
I don't think their offense.
I think it's one-dimensional.
Yeah, do you really?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
How can you deny it right now,
It
Tom?
depends. It's 2 games.
So?
It's 2 games. I don't think it's one.
In 2 games, he's thrown to 2 guys.
Well, let's see.
So I guess that's 2-dimensional, but still, you get my drift.
Yeah, that's true. See, it is.
I found it very 2-dimensional.
Did he throw to Tompkins in the first? He threw to Tompkins on the first game.
A few times. But I mean, the majority of the throws.
Now, I
went
have
to
taken
2
the
people.
stat sheet after a game when they won big, and I've looked at the receiving, and it's always totaled up where there's 5 or 6 guys that catch the ball a minimum of 4 times. They've had days like that.
Not lately.
Well, not lately, but again, it's early. We'll see if they have a day like that against the nursing home secondary that the Raiders have.
I sure hope they do. 603-883-9900, your
I say
phone
that
number.
with all affection, being a nursing home resident myself.
Indeed. 883-9900. Text the show 50352. Christian and King will be right back.
I'm Jean Shaheen, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Shaheen for Senate. When you hear this from Scott Brown,
I care about New Hampshire.
Think about this. In the Senate, Scott Brown voted to give Big Oil more than $20 billion in taxpayer subsidies. Big Oil gave Brown nearly $500,000 for his campaign. Thousands within days of those votes.
Scott Brown doesn't care about New Hampshire.
Scott Brown saved Wall Street $19 billion, and Wall Street gave Brown more campaign money than anyone, $5.3 million.
Scott Brown votes with the big oil companies and Wall Street.
Now, Brown's pocketing more than $250,000 from a company that shipped U.S. jobs to China. New Hampshire's lost more jobs to China than any state. Brown's still working for the company, even endorsed the outsourcing.
Scott Brown is out for himself.
Scott Brown's not for New Hampshire. Never was, never will be.
Hey folks, Tom Rowe here for the good people at Infinity of Nashua. Right now at Infinity of Nashua, they're home to one of the most unique automobiles on the planet. The 2014 Q50 all-wheel drive hybrid gets an astounding 30 miles per gallon with a powerful 360 horsepower engine that gives you the performance you demand from a luxury vehicle. The 2014 Q50 all-wheel drive hybrid is priced, get this, below $50,000. Other comparable luxury vehicles can cost you twice as much. All Infinity vehicles are backed by a 4-year, 60,000-mile warranty and a powertrain warranty for 6 years at 70,000 miles. At Infinity of Nashua, they know your time is valuable, and when it comes time to service your vehicle, Infinity of Nashua has a fleet of loaner cars for you to use, so you're not waiting around for your car to be serviced. And the service department hand washes and vacuums your vehicle after every visit. Infinity of Nashua is located on 105 DW Highway in Nashua and can also be found online at infinityofnashua.com. Once more, Infinity of Nashua is located on 105 DW Highway in Nashua and can also be found online at infinityofnashua.com.
Come to Bellman Jewelers in tax-free Manchester, New Hampshire to discover what the Bellman's Advantage is all about. Bellman's has always featured quality jewelry at a fair price with excellent service. Whether it's me or my husband, we always choose Bellman's because the majority of their finished jewelry and engagement mountings are manufactured in-house, eliminating the middleman, which saves us money. And of course, no sales tax. My husband knows to shop at Bellman's. Do you?
Bellman's Jewelers located at 1650 Elm Street in Manchester, or visit them online at bellmans.com.
Is a sports injury keeping you out of your favorite class or your student athlete on the sideline? If so, come to New Hampshire Orthopedic Center, where we keep bodies in motion. Our sports medicine team's board-certified fellowship-trained physicians can tackle any injury keeping you away from the activities you love. Trust the team the Manchester Monarchs trust. Doctors Bouvier, Gumas, Killy, Marino, Sohikian, and Velas have the expertise and experience you can depend on. Our physicians know how motivated you are to get back in action. They chose sports medicine because they love getting athletes back into their favorite activities. With 6 area locations, you don't have to leave your community to get the best care. NHOC is conveniently located throughout southern New Hampshire, with offices in Nashua, Manchester, Londonderry, Amherst, and Salem. New Hampshire Orthopedic Center. We keep bodies in motion. To learn more, visit NHOC.com. Again, that's NHOC.com.
You want sports? How about the Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics? Hear them all right here on ESPN New Hampshire. Scores, standings, trades, and rumors. This is the ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
Patriots practiced yesterday in Foxborough. They're back at practice today preparing for their Sunday home opener against the Oakland Raiders. Tom Brady wants to see the offense get into better sync.
In offensive football, all 11 guys need to be on the same page with great communication, everyone doing their assignment the right way. If you have a guy open downfield and, we don't protect it, then it's a bad play.
Gerard Mayo missed practice yesterday to attend the birth of his third child. He is expected to play on Sunday. In other NFL news, Arizona Cardinals running back Jonathan Dwyer was arrested yesterday on charges of aggravated assault on a woman back in July. Dwyer has been deactivated from all Cardinals team activities. The Red Sox got their first look at Rusney Castillo last night in Pittsburgh. The Cuban center fielder went 1 for 4 with an infield single in the fourth inning, but that wasn't enough to stop the Sox from getting pounded by the Pirates. 9-1 your final score. Clay Buchholz lasted just 4 innings, giving up 4 earned runs on 6 hits. Sox and Pirates will finish the series off tonight. Brandon Workman gets the start opposite Garrett Cole. Catch the game right here on ESPN New Hampshire, starting with the 6:25 pregame show. In other baseball news, the Anaheim Angels clinched the AL West title last night with a 5-0 win over the Mariners. I'm Christian Arcan. The Sports Center is brought to you by Infinity of Nashua, the official luxury car of the Boston Red Sox. Visit them online at infinityofnashua.com.
Christian and King on ESPN New Hampshire, 603-883-9900.
603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. You can text in 50352. You can tweet me at Christian Arcan. You can tweet Tom at Telegraph_Tom K.
Yeah, don't bother.
But don't bother.
No, I'll return it. I've returned tweets.
How many in your life? 2? One was me, I know that.
Yeah. No, I think I've done it about 10 times.
10 times?
I think so.
Wow.
I've gotten people tweeting me and I've replied. And then people I don't even know.
Really?
When I first started it, all the tweets I would get would be like the spam stuff,
Yes.
But now I get real
Bigger
people.
penis today.
Now I'd get some.
And after you clicked on all of those links and found out they weren't real.
Exactly.
Just
No
false
kidding.
promises
And
on
then
your Twitter
my phone wouldn't work
timeline.
for some reason after that. I couldn't understand why.
And you still have the same tiny wiener, and that's just unfortunate.
We're not going to get in there. We're not going to go there.
We're not going to talk about your tiny wiener?
Well, let me put it this way. Yesterday's swim didn't help.
I was in the pool.
I'm telling you, that water was so
I bet it was
cold.
I bet it was.
And I usually can get used to it, but this was like the cold that stays in your body for a while. So, boy.
Can't believe another season went by. We didn't do one show by the pool.
I know.
Next year, if we're still on the air, next year we're doing it, okay?
There's no if. We'll be on the air.
Just saying.
Either that or we'll be in the air, one or the other.
Could be, yeah.
I know.
In the ether.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So,
Mike Loico will be
yeah,
joining us.
Definitely doing it.
205. We'll talk with Loico, anypatriotsdraft.com. Continue our Patriots conversation with him. I'm sure he's got plenty to say about the Raiders and what they bring to the table this Sunday.
Well, what's interesting about what we can ask him is, since he's the draft guy, is what have the Raiders done in the draft in the last 2 or 3 years to help themselves out, in his opinion?
Yeah.
So. And then if he says, I have absolutely no idea, then we'll just go on to something else.
Yeah. We'll try to.
Yeah.
That's all the only question I have prepared.
No, exactly.
So how about the Raiders draft? I don't know about that. All right, we'll see you.
Well, now take a look at this.
Yeah.
Okay. They're starting the youngest quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And in that division in the AFC West, Phillip Rivers has been there for a long time.
True.
Peyton Manning's going to retire in a couple of years, you would think. And Smith's on the downside, don't you think?
I guess.
How old is he?
30s, I guess. They're 30, 31.
He might be. So Smith might be
drafted the same year as what's his name, the other kid out of Utah.
Who was that?
The Australian basketball player. What the hell was his name?
Bogut?
Yeah, Andrew Bogut.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They were drafted the same year, both out of Utah. Number 1 in the NFL, number 1 in the NBA. That's a true story. It's a good trivia question.
Yeah, it is a good trivia question. But I mean, that's the the thing is,
Alex Smith is 30 years old.
The thing is, the Raiders, if they're patient with their, if they trust what Reggie McKenzie's doing, or I don't know if they do or not, or what Dennis Allen is doing, if they're patient, in 2 or 3 years, they could be the best team in that division.
Yeah.
So who knows?
The police report on Jonathan Dwyer, the running back for the Arizona Cardinals, has been released and is out right now. We haven't talked about it too much today,
Guy
but
who hid in the bathroom?
Yeah, Cardinals running back Jonathan Dwyer is reported to have headbutted his wife, broke her
Ooh.
nose after she refused his sexual advances, and he punched her in the face the next day. Details surfaced today in a law enforcement report a day after Dwyer was arrested on aggravated assault charges and deactivated from all team activities after he was taken into custody at the Cardinals practice facility headquarters in Tempe. He spent a night in jail, made a brief court appearance after being released on bail early Thursday. A lot of people are saying, oh, my God, how could you possibly do this right now in the midst of all of this? For the record, not saying that he's a smart guy here or anything, but this was back in July, and the woman's coming forward. So it's...
She just came forward now?
Yeah. Well, she came forward on the 11th, and then they put all the facts together and looked at all the medical reports and, the witnesses' reports and everything, and they had enough to bring charges, and they did, and they charged them, and we'll see what happens there. Jonathan Dwyer, a running back... for Arizona, who also has that guy Rainey on their team, who's another one. He's on the practice squad, another one who had domestic issues. This coming...
Dwyer's not their main back, though, is he?
No, their main back's Andre Ellington.
That's the guy who ran. The Giants had a tough time bringing down.
Yeah, he's
right.
pretty good. He's a good player. Dwyer was arrested Wednesday for an investigation in two altercations that occurred July 21st and 22nd in Phoenix, days before the Cardinals reported a training camp. His wife left the state after the two incidents, but came forward a week ago after Dwyer sent suicidal text messages, including a photo of a knife. In the first encounter, police said Dwyer attempted to kiss and undress his wife. She refused. Someone heard the argument, reported the assault by police, who showed up at the apartment but did not make an arrest. Dwyer hid in a bathroom, and his wife denied he was in the house because the running back threatened to kill himself in front of her and their child if she told police. The next day, Dwyer punched his wife with a closed fist on the left side of her face. According to police, he was also punched the walls and threw a shoe at his 17-month-old son, who was not injured.
Boy.
Yeah.
Sounds like he was on something.
Kind of does sound like
Doesn't
that.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does sound like maybe there was something else involved. Maybe.
Oh, here it is, finally.
What?
Here's some paragraphs on Aldred.
On Gloria Aldred?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
On Wednesday, the father of a woman who once dated NFL
What page
player,
is that on, by the way?
C5.
C5. You're reading the Glow on the
Globe.
fifth page of the sports.
Right.
Page.
It was in the. It says more NFL domestic violence, and it starts with the main part of it is Dwyer, and then it goes. On Wednesday, the father of a woman who once dated NFL player Brandon Marshall is calling for Goodell to resign because he's disappointed in the way the league handled his daughter's case. Clarence Watley spoke at a press conference in Georgia about his daughter, Rashida Watley, who said she was abused by Marshall. Watley was joined by high-profile attorney Gloria Aldred, who joined the press conference. Marshall was with the Denver Broncos and now I'm reading very well, aren't I?
You are.
I know it. Marshall was with the Denver Broncos and now plays for the Chicago Bears. He was suspended for 3 games in 2008, but the suspension was reduced to 1 game. He has denied the allegations. Watley said he and others wrote to Goodell about... Now, see, here's the thing, and I'll get back to you. That sounds very familiar. Watley said he and others wrote to Goodell about the case and never heard back from league officials. Watley called for the NFL's investigation. Watley called... See, now I'm having trouble.
Right.
Watley called the NFL's investigation one-sided. So that was it. They just focused on him. But look at that suspension.
Yeah.
3 games. Down to 1 game.
And he was found not guilty of the charges, too.
Right. So, I don't know. I mean, that's just what they did back then.
And if it was on video?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like...
That's it. I know it.
We see this now, and it's...
But this is where he got that number.
What?
From some of those cases.
Yeah,
that
I guess so.
That's where he got that number.
Right.
And, again, he wanted to give him 6 and was talked out of it. So, for what that's worth. But that's where he got... I'm sure that case... That must have been that had to have been probably the only other case recently.
That was when it was with the Broncos, so that was a while ago.
Still 07, 08.
Yeah.
So, yep.
I don't know.
So,
I mean,
I didn't listen to the press conference after the women started talking. I'd gotten out of the car, so I didn't have it on. But
yeah, see,
and then I went to try to find it on TV.
Oh.
And I couldn't. It wasn't on anywhere. ESPN didn't televise it. You thought that I would be thinking they'd be jumping.
They had a lot of press conferences to get through that day.
Yeah. Yesterday, well, the only one is my man Ziggy.
Yeah.
Ziggy.
We just want to get it right.
Ziggy Wills.
We want to do the right thing. It's not even how he talks. But.
No, not the son, but that's the way Ziggy talks.
Yeah, Ziggy's so. Well, the son has a little bit of an accent.
He's got a
too.
little bit of an accent, but the father's got the father's got more of an accent.
I just love it. I mean, when you get a talking point in something like this, and we wanted to get it right.
26 times.
Say it a couple times, but then don't keep saying it because that's all people are going to remember. And then when you say that, we were just trying to get it right. All that reminds us is how wrong you got it the first time.
Right, but
which
it's
is
also,
inexcusable
but
to
it's
begin
also,
with.
It's also a rehearsed answer.
Yeah. If you're going to rehearse that much, at least, rehearse a little sincerity too.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Instead of just, we want to get it right. Well, like I said, we just want to get it right. We know you want to get it right, you moron. Explain how you screwed it up in the first place.
Yep.
That's what I'd like to know.
Right.
Not going to hear that, though. Mike Loico joins us at 2:05. I'm going to go cool off. Christian and King will be right back.
Craving something new, bold, and toasty? Let Quiznos satisfy your hunger with their new Ciabatta Toasties. Indulge in the honey Dijon ham with a delicious honey mustard drizzle, or try the pesto turkey with mozzarella, basil pesto, and red wine vinaigrette. And the veggie caprese offers all the right flavor combinations, each made with the freshest ingredients and just $3.99.
Quiznos, 290 Main Street in Nashua. Toasty.
The Sports Zone in Derry, New Hampshire is the perfect place for men and women, boys and girls, weekend warriors, and aspiring athletes. Sports Zone offers youth and adult leagues for basketball, soccer, dodgeball, and flag football, plus Little Hoopsters basketball and Little Strikers soccer programs, which provide youngsters the opportunity to learn the game, develop their skills, and play together. Baseball and softball players are welcome too. Our batting cages are open all year round. So join the fun at the Sports Zone in Derry, New Hampshire, and to find out more, call 603-537-9663 or visit nhsportszone.com.
Just fill it. Do you know whose money you're jacking? Fill the bag! Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini will blow you away in this year's must-see thriller.
On my money.
If we knew where the money was, that would mean we were in on it.
Are you doing something desperate?
Just let me take care of it. Keep your head down. The drop is masterful with a killer twist.
Bodies vanishing all over the place. You don't see anything? Nah, that's this neighborhood, right?
The drop, rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent. Friday.
Move to a Regis office and claim home field advantage for your business virtually anywhere in the world. A Regis office lets you work on the move from any of their 1,800 global locations.